thank you for being in this presentation. My name is Dux Raymond Tsai. I serve as a CTO of AppPoint Public Sector. And in the next 20-25 minutes, we're going to talk about when to use what. I know earlier or throughout the different sessions around social, you've been hearing and learning about tips, techniques, and strategies, but most likely, a lot of you want that silver bullet. Just give me a recipe on when I use LinkedIn, when I use Twitter, when should I Instagram, or when should I post on Pinterest, especially related to my business. So to put things in perspective, what I'm going to show you and talk to you about is focused around when to use what tools, specifically around social, to help your business, your organization, and certainly some of these tips and tricks can apply to your personal social engagement as well. So to get our conversation started, I want to show the reality of the world we live in today.
Today, people are more connected than ever before. Through social networks, through the cloud, through mobile devices. The world has become a giant network. And every second, people are sharing, learning, and making decisions on the go. They're all part of one hyper-connected world. These are your customers. They expect faster responses, personalized service, better experiences. As a business, you have to always be listening to your customers. Anticipate trends. Take action. And adapt quickly no matter what comes your way, so you can always stay one step ahead. You need the latest information at your fingertips to make fully informed decisions. And as a business, you can give your customers exactly what they want, when they want it. So they walk away with experiences as unique as they are. What if you were connected to everything important? What if you and every person in your company could work together like a network? Suddenly, you're plugged into everything that matters to your business. You're social and collaborating in new ways, exchanging ideas with people across the globe. You're always listening to your employees, customers, and partners. You spot new opportunities to adapt quickly and make change happen. You share documents and information in real time and make decisions faster than ever. When you're working together as one connected network, you can grow your business. You understand your customers, you build better products, and you deliver the best experiences. This is the power of a network. Now's the time to start working like one.
This is a phenomenal time we live in. We live in this world where everyone, everything, every information we work with is part of this big network. Now, a lot of partners I talked to in the last few years still don't value and don't realize how important it is to be engaged not only internally, but externally as well. I mean, case in point, today, companies rise and fall because of social. Really, Dux? I don't believe that. I mean, we've been in this business forever. We're an ISV, we're an SI. This whole social media stuff, our intern can take care of it. Well, think about this. We're in the wonderful town of Orlando, and if you want to go to a restaurant, what's the first thing you do? Especially if you're new here. You jump on Yelp. Is this good? Is this bad? How does the review look like? Or maybe you want to buy HoloLens when it comes out. Now, if you're a special partner, you may get it right away, but if not, what do? You go to Amazon and see how people like it or not. We rely on social as customers. And you might think, well, that's only useful for consumers. We work with enterprises. We work with B2B. We work with partners. Social is irrelevant. Not quite. More and more, there's a correlation, which I'll show you examples in a second, with building brand, driving engagement, and increasing revenue through social. And that's what we're going to focus on, specifically around how we take advantage of these tools. Now, I put some tools up here that are common, and I want to quickly do a social 101 with everybody. Because I get asked, well, Dux, what's the difference with Twitter versus Facebook versus LinkedIn? When do I use what? So I think this is the best way to explain it to partners on what the different social tools are about and what it's for. So on Twitter, let's say Twitter, it's more like you're doing a brain dump. I need to install SharePoint. You're going to tell the whole world I'm going to install SharePoint. In Facebook, it's almost always after the fact. I mean, you do that. Oh, we went on this nice vacation. I installed SharePoint. It was a success. I didn't even have to run PowerShell. So it's a pass, right? Google Plus, I don't even know if it still exists, but I do know some companies are using it still. It's very detailed. They'll show the step-by-step information in Google Plus. Quora, it's a great site. Very, a lot of people go ask questions, get answered by experts. And it's very, there's a lot of opinions in there. So why did I install SharePoint? That's kind of the engagement you want to do in Quora. Foursquare is location-based. I installed SharePoint. I'm waiting for the day to be the mayor of SharePoint. Right? Don't know if that's going to happen. YouTube, you record a video, do a little podcast tutorial, watch me install SharePoint. LinkedIn, you want to tell the whole world my company's a SharePoint expert. And Pinterest, look at these cute pictures of SharePoint. Now, with that being said, what I want to focus on and share stories and guidance are three key areas that relates to our business. And this is the area of building brand. Second, thinking about how you drive engagement and the different facets of customer engagement and partner engagement. And then third is how do we increase revenue? It comes down to the dollar and the cents. So let's step through these three specific areas and understand what kind of social tools we can take advantage of. So the first area as a business, as a partner, where we can leverage social is in the area of building brands. This is a low-hanging fruit, but just like what I discussed earlier in my previous session, you don't just aimlessly use these social tools. We're going to build brands, so we're going to randomly tweet every day. It doesn't really work that way. What's your goal? And from a brand building perspective, typically, there are two key goals. First is in the area of being thought leaders. You as an individual could be a thought leader, but even better as a company, you could be a thought leader and experts as well. And the three tools I highly recommend for you to use to demonstrate thought leadership, first and foremost, is a blogging platform called Medium. If you haven't heard of Medium, go to medium.com. And the beauty with Medium is it's a simple interface, simple platform, but it curates a lot of the great content out there. And it also tells you things like, how long is this article? It'll take you 5 minutes to read. And then it'll also recommend related articles to that post you do. So I highly recommend as a company, if you can sign up for a Medium blog post. If you're thinking, well, Dux, we already have a blog on our company site, there's no harm in creating a parallel blog in Medium and maybe replicate your content because you have a greater reach and a lot of the people reading it can be potentially your customers. Second is in the area of thought leadership. If you want to demonstrate your expertise, LinkedIn is a great platform. I know LinkedIn kind of started as, a site, you put your resumes and network with people. But in the last few years, LinkedIn has dramatically increased and expanded their presence around helping companies, establishing expertise. So other than having a company page or section on LinkedIn, what you can also do individually or as a representative of your company, create a LinkedIn blog. Very similar to Medium. The difference with LinkedIn blog, it's a very close network of expertise and customers, for example. So let's say you're a partner doing Azure, IaaS, infrastructure as a service, and talk about the value of moving to the cloud, all that good stuff. As soon as you write a post, anybody with related interests about cloud, Azure, IaaS, those would show up on their stream in LinkedIn. So highly recommend you take advantage and use LinkedIn blogs. Third, again, we're in a day and age of videos, memes, photos. So take advantage of YouTube. YouTube, by far, is still the predominant video platform. While there may be other platforms you can leverage, you got Vine, you got Instagram for short videos, or or even broadcasting technologies like Meerkat or Periscope, YouTube is still the place to be. If your company doesn't have one, create a YouTube video channel. And you don't have to have, professional edited videos, commercial videos. You could record your videos easily with tools like Camtasia, or if you're using a Mac, ScreenFlow, of little how-tos. Oh, you know what? Today I learned how to deploy an app on Office 365. Do a 5-minute video and talk over it. And be disciplined about it. Produce some content every week. And as you communicate with your customers, you're not only going to tell them about your specials, but you're also going to share thought leadership-worthy content for them to learn and for them to use. These are some of the top channels you can leverage to demonstrate your thought leadership as a company. Another area of building brand is around marketing campaigns. A lot of companies leverage social media for marketing campaigns, and by far, for our space, Twitter is the #1 platform for marketing campaigns. Depending on where you are, you can mix in Foursquare as well for location-based campaigns. So a story I want to share, and this is a very, very great story. So Toyota out in UK, I think last year or 2 years ago, they launched a car called Toyota IQ. And the whole premise of this car is very efficient, doesn't eat a lot of petrol or gas. So they did this campaign. They put 2 people in a Toyota IQ full tank of gas to drive 500 miles around UK. 18 cities, no refilling. And then what they want to do for these 2 guys is along their journey, tweet, take pictures, post articles, just to share their experience of taking on this challenge of driving through 500 miles without refilling the car. And boy, in that simple, short campaign, what did they get? They got a whole coverage, 64 blog posts around that initiative, including New York Times. They had 105 million potential readers based on those 64 blog posts. And of those readers, about 3.7 million are in UK, which was their intended audience. And even better, there was a 212% increase in their blog traffic around this new car. And guess what? Based on this campaign, and by the way, I just tweeted the case study of this, they had a direct linkage into driving sales. So social is very powerful in helping drive brand awareness, in helping your marketing campaigns. But from what we've seen and as demonstrated in a lot of companies, they're using Twitter in a lot of great ways to drive the brand and drive the message. Now, there's a lot of other ideas you can take advantage of in terms of using Twitter. Things like gamification, promotion, selecting winners. So for example, if you guys haven't tried that tool over there, I don't know what to call it, you can send a tweet and get a prize. You send a tweet, there's a code, and then once you enter the code, it'll drop a prize on. So you can be very creative on what you do. So the next area on how you can leverage social as a company is to drive engagement. And by far, to drive engagement, there's 3 tools, hands down, that's really, really good for it. Twitter's one, obviously, Facebook, and then LinkedIn. So in the area of engagement, there's 3 areas you can consider. Number 1 is growing your community. Now, you've heard about communities, why it's important, the way we do sales and engage with customers. It's not just the traditional, we send a newsletter, buy our product, but really grow a community of engaged customers and partners. What you want to do is take advantage of LinkedIn groups. I know a lot of us are on LinkedIn, and you may be part of a group. Why don't you start your own group? And what I recommend for your company, you don't really start a group called, for example, I work for AppPoint. Here's the AppPoint LinkedIn group. Most likely, nobody will be interested in that. However, if I start a group on LinkedIn called, here's a group to talk about sustainable adoption around cloud technologies. Very forward-thinking, thought leadership. You can regularly post content, share content, talk about events, and then grow that community. And by doing that, you can allow people to have you top of mind as an industry expert in that. Second, to drive engagement, leverage it for networking. Now, there's a lot of companies now, and it's not just marketing companies or PR companies that are doing what's called tweet jams or tweet chats. For example, I know Microsoft regularly has this thing called Yam Jam. If you guys are not familiar with Yam Jam, make sure you sign up on Twitter and look up this hashtag called Yam Jam. On a regular basis, Microsoft engages everybody from partners to customers, anybody in the world, to join an external Yammer network and to talk about a specific topic. But apart from learning about this topic, boy, you meet a lot of people from different parts of the world from Microsoft through that way of engagement and networking. And so that's what's called Yam Jam. As a company, you could do that. Especially for all of us partners, we have access to Yammer. Create your own external network. Engage your customers that way. Or if you don't want to use Yammer, you can certainly use Twitter. There are regular what's called tweet jams. It's just engagement and conversation. I know in the SharePoint world, there's a regular SharePoint tweet jam. In the cloud world, I know they're starting around cloud tweet jams. So people, anybody, anywhere can jump on Twitter and start talking about things. But more importantly, you get to meet people. The third area to drive engagement, which I see a lot of companies leveraging, is in the area of customer response and customer service. We are in the age of I want feedback now. I'm sure a lot of you heard bad stories. Anybody heard about that United Airlines broke my guitar? I mean, if you haven't heard about that, look that up. United Airlines broke my guitar. That is an epic, epic social fail. You don't want to be that company. What you want to be is a company like Publix. So if you guys aren't familiar with Publix is a grocery chain in the Southeast. They have a lot of stores here in Florida. And they have two Twitter accounts. One is a corporate Publix account. And then they have another account called Publix Cares. And if you have any complaint or challenge or issue, any feedback, good, bad, or ugly, you can send a tweet to Publix or Publix Cares. They're on it. So for example, so this gentleman says, now realizing my 6-count bread rolls I bought earlier this afternoon from Publix only has 4 rolls in it. Why didn't I notice this? Obviously, this guy wasn't even complaining. He's just venting it out in the world. Oh, I only got 4 rolls. I mean, to us, what's the big deal? It's bread. Just go buy another bag of bread. But Publix jumped on it right away. He says, I'm sorry, what's the store location? He gave the location. Thanks. DM me, direct message your address. I'll send you a refund. Guess what kind of customer this turned out after that? And I've experienced this myself. Walking in D.C., I live in Washington, D.C., and I go to a restaurant. I always make it a point, if I really like the restaurant, I'm a big foodie, I send a quick post, awesome food, awesome paella, gonna come back. And I can't tell you how many times I would get messages back. I get like a $25 appreciation gift card. Now, I'm not saying you do that to get the gift card, but using social to drive engagement, to provide responses right away is very powerful. Companies like Best Buy has been very successful with this. And a lot of companies are starting to do this, to use social as a means and ways to provide customer service. Now, if you're wondering, well, Dux, how can I manage all of this? Well, the good news is we're all Microsoft partners, and there are Microsoft tools that can help you manage this. Anybody use social engagement as a part of the CRM suite of tools? Phenomenal. It has sentiment analysis. It could tell you customers are happy, not happy, what hashtags work, where. Or if you have Parature, you can capture all the social information. It'll create cases for you that you can respond to, and you can tie to your CRM database. So take advantage of the tools that we have. The last area on how you can leverage social, which I'm sure a lot of you are keen on, is how can I make money? How can I use social to increase revenue? So this is an interesting study. So this is a recent study. eMarketer is a big site that analyzes social. they found that according to social media survey, product launches are done on LinkedIn. So what does that tell you? A lot of the buyers are on LinkedIn. And I think in our crowd, LinkedIn is an appropriate place to launch and talk about our products and services and relate it to our thought leadership expertise. But even better, look at the second one. Twitter is a major area that companies use to launch product. But another thing that they don't say here, Twitter is one of the foremost social media channels to help drive revenue. So let me share a story with you around Twitter ROI. So this is a case study on Dell. So a few years ago, I believe 4 or 5 years ago, Dell found out that they have a lot of excess inventory. And they're like, we don't have extra budget to run a campaign or an inventory. Let's create an account called Dell Outlet on Twitter. Let's just try it out. What we're going to do every Friday, I think Friday or Thursday, they announce it every Friday or Thursday, watch out this account, we're going to tweet special deals. All right? And they did. And they realized by doing this, and it's inventory that they already have, they're just tweeting the special deals with pictures for a limited time. This was the net result. Just by doing that alone, they raised $3 million from Twitter followers who clicked through its posts to the website to make purchases. Right? And then $1 million from Twitter followers in a 6-month span. Now, while you may be thinking, well, Dux, we don't sell computers, we don't sell widgets, we're a services company, or, we have cloud apps. You can do the same thing. Why can't you do a weekly special on your Office 365 app? 2 hours only, 50% off. Now, if you sign ELA for 3 years, I'll give you 25% off or something like that, right? So there's a lot of innovative ways you can do or messaging you can do to take advantage of Twitter to drive revenue. I just shared a couple more stories on Twitter, if you're following me, on 10 other companies on how they made money leveraging social and primarily to channels like Twitter. So again, when to use what? It's not about what tool to use. It's about what your goal is. Are you in it to help drive your brand? Or are you in it if you want to facilitate engagement? Or lastly, are you in social to drive revenue? And based on these goals, now it ties back to the tools that you actually use. What do you guys think? Useful? All right. So just like my earlier session, I have tons of resources. So I just tweeted a sign-up sheet if you want to get all the PowerPoint videos, links, case studies, and whatnot, and checklists. And then second is, I asked that if you guys can fill out the eval on the app or on the website, that'd be greatly appreciated. Any comments and feedback would be good. And I look forward to continue to connect with you. Thanks again for attending this session, and enjoy the rest of WPC. Yeah.